Big, chunky digital watches well before G-Shock, calculator watches with pure class, double-layered fun, just some damn classy looking digital watches. I give you the rabbit hole that is Orient digital watches, available in a golden period between 1975 and 1983 when the digital watch was king. I love these watches and hopefully after this video you will too. First, a very quick origin story for flavour. We'll get to the digitals quick, I promise. The story goes that the precursor to Orient Watch Co has its origins in 1901, with Shugoro Yoshida selling imported pocket watches from a store in Ueno, Tokyo, which would evolve into Toyo, meaning East, Watch Co Limited in 1920, with some wristwatch production from 1934. This initial venture would shut down after the war, where the factories had primarily been focused on weaponry, and it would re-emerge as Tama Kiki in 1950, later renamed Orient Watch Company in 1951. And this was around the time of the launch of their flagship watch, the Orient Star. Some sub-brands worth mentioning over the years to give you a flavour of their design history are the Royal Orient starting in 1960, the crazy Grand Prix 100 which used 89 rubies and 11 sapphires as jewels, and the King Diver series in 1964. A claim for a world's first is where the Fineness watch was claimed to be the world's finished watch at that time, with a day and date calendar, and some funky looking things like this 1974 multi-calendar. But let's dig into their digitals. It was around 1975 that their first digital calibers would come out. The first was the 62000 series, which was able to indicate AM or PM with the flashing of the dots between the digits. The second was the 64100, which you do see more of, which was a 6-digit LCD display that included seconds. The front of the case surrounding the screen had these gorgeous patterns. Interesting fact was that they were used in a channel favourite, which is the brand Enicar, as well as for the brand Degena. A third launched in that year was the 66000 family in the circular case with 4 digits, and later watches in a similar vein with the 65000 6-digit series. In 1976 we see Orient's foray into the LED space with the Touchtron I 68000 range. Some intriguing marketing choices with this circular version, which would later evolve into the Touchtron II, which was slimmer. The Mainspring YouTube channel and Instagram account has a nice demo of one. A solar LED was also available with the LED solar quartz, which I've seen on a poster, but let me know if you've got a link to see a real one. On the topic of solar, I'll sneakily jump ahead a bit to 1978, which brings the caliber that I have in my own collection, which is the 65800 series, which has both a solar panel and battery buffer. I just think that these look so classy for a digital watch, including the aesthetic of the solar panel. Of course, to keep up with Casio, Seiko and Citizen, Orient did their own calculator watch, the 69100, which I think is a particularly classy looking number for adding those numbers up. As per the prior collab, Enicar would use this module to do their own calculator watch. I thought it would be nice to lump together the more chronograph-centric range, starting with 1976's 61-100 Chronograph 20, with a very similar model being launched in 1979 called the Chrono Deluxe 67110, which would also come in a solar-enabled version, the Sunshine Chrono Deluxe model with the 67810, and a slimline, which is the model that I have myself, which is the 72110, which I think is an absolute beauty, at least in the colourway that I have. A final chronocentric model in 1979 was the 74-100. I've noticed this solar version within what looks to be the 74000 series. 1981's Chronograph 820 or the 82000 series is the final chrono focus model I'll drop in here, which added perpetual calendar, lap function and timing with 2 separate events. So let's layer in the alarm element. In 1979, I believe it may have been one of the world's first, Orient released the multi-music alarm chronograph 70000 series, which had the capability to program your own melody alarm. The 86000 music alarm chronograph expanding this range. Getting more interesting, 1981 brought the 75-100 memory alarm with dot matrix style display, which enables you to save 3 lots of 4-letter reminders. Probably the weirdest Orient I've come across is the 77000 sound monitor with double LC display, hence the nickname Double Face, one with digital and one with pseudo analog. Unlike the competition over at Seiko and Casio in the early 80s, who were really getting into sports watches with water resistance, jogging watches and that sort of stuff, Orient had a relatively minimal presence here. I've only really been able to see the one watch, which I think was one of their last ones, which was the N2 400 multisports watch. Unfortunately, we see Orient move pretty far away from their classy beginnings, and the last range of watches around 1982 or 83 is novelty game watches with this football game time watch, and this Heckle and Jekyll boomerang game being a couple of examples. So it's a narrow window of time where they made these awesome digital watches, but they're really cool and nicely designed. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do consider liking and subscribing, and you'll likely enjoy the video I'm showing on screen now. We're past 1,000 subscribers now, so onwards to 2,000, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.